The AFC North is the most competitive division in the NFL this year. The first place Cincinnati Bengals are 8-6, and the fourth place Cleveland Browns are 7-7. In between them, you have the Baltimore Ravens at 8-6, who are behind the Bengals on a tiebreaker, and the Pittsburgh Steelers at 7-6-1 with their tie to the Detroit Lions. So, who is going to end up winning this division? Now, all four of these teams are obviously very close, and each team has their own strength. Pittsburgh has probably the best defense, the Browns have the best running backs, where the Ravens have the best running quarterback and most unique offense, and the Bengals probably have the better quarterback of the four. So let's break the division down by three things: quarterbacks, offenses, and defenses. If you look at 538 in their quarterback rankings, they have Lamar Jackson rated at 162 ELO points. They have Ben Roethlisberger at 158 ELO points. They have Joe Burrow at 154 ELO points. They have Baker Mayfield at 115 ELO points. Now, I kind of agree with these rankings, but not 100%. I think Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback. I think Joe Burrow is the best passer, and Ben Roethlisberger is but by far the most experienced in the division. Where Baker is more experienced than Joe Burrow, but not than the others. So Baker, I would definitely say, is the worst quarterback, and you could have the argument for Lamar and Joe Burrow, and I think Ben Roethlisberger is not a very good quarterback. But I think he's better than Baker just because of how they play with him in Pittsburgh, where Baker's job is really just to hand the ball off and throw play action passes. So I'm not saying Ben Roethlisberger is better than Baker. I just think they do a better job using Ben Roethlisberger than they do in using Baker in Cleveland. So I would say it's between Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, whether you're a running quarterback fan or passing quarterback fan. Pick and choose. They're very close. Then let's look at offenses. Who I think has the best offense? I think it's got to be between the Ravens and the Bengals. The Browns are kind of there with their run game, but I really haven't been impressed this season, especially with the way you had guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones dropping passes last night. They really separated that game. They could have easily won that, and they almost did. And that they would have been in first place if they had done it. Steelers' offense is nowhere in this conversation, in my opinion. So between the Ravens and the Bengals, the Ravens have Lamar Jackson and just his explosiveness and find ways with Mark Andrews to just get the ball downfield and score points, especially with Tyler Huntley. That was impressive against the Packers. They almost won that game as well. And then the Bengals, they're there. Their offense is good obviously they have a good run game with Joe Mixon. Joe Burrow is a good young quarterback, and he's in his second year. And Jamar Chase has been great. And they have some other guys, T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. So I think I'd have to give the edge to the Bengals' best offense. But then the Ravens, I'd have a better defense than the Bengals. I say the Steelers have the best defense. John Harbaugh finds ways to make that defense really good. And Cleveland's got a good defense too. So I'd say the Bengals have the worst defense, but it's not a bad defense. And the Steelers have probably the best defense. Like, all these teams are similar, where besides the Steelers, the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns, they're all equally, like, they're just very in the middle of the pack at the things that they do. Like, you wouldn't look at the Ravens, Bengals, or Browns and say they have a top five offense in the league or a top five defense in the league, and the Browns are kind of close, but you wouldn't put them bottom five either. Like, they're very in the middle. Just one game the defense will carry, one game the offense will carry. That's how all these teams are, and that's why they're so close, because they're just very similarly made, where someone's got to pick it up for them just to make it work. So let's go ahead and look into who plays who, because there's a lot of matchups against each other in this division. Pittsburgh has the Chiefs this week, and then Pittsburgh plays Cleveland and Baltimore. So Pittsburgh's got two divisional games left. If you look at the Bengals, they've got Baltimore this week, then Kansas City and Cleveland. So two divisional games and playing Kansas City, that's a tough matchup against Kansas City. And Baltimore's got Cincinnati. Like I said, the Ravens-Bengals game this week coming up is in Cincinnati, so that'll be a huge part of that. Then they play the Rams, and then they have Pittsburgh. So another two divisional games, then a tough opponent to face. Cleveland, same thing. They're at Green Bay, and then they have two tough division games at Pittsburgh and home versus Cincinnati. So this division is really going to settle itself here as we come up. If you look at the games on 538, you see that these games are rated with such high importance because they're divisional races, and they're going to come down to it. All right, so we'll look at their projections. They have the Packers beating the Browns. They have this Ravens Bengals game rated at 100 importance with a 54% win probability to the Bengals. So this is a very important game, and that's why they've rated it that way. We look at Steelers and the Chiefs. They have the Chiefs as 10.5 favorites, but this game also has a 76 importance because it affects both teams. The Chiefs trying to get that number one seed in the AFC East. And you go to Week 17, Chiefs Bengals. This game has 99 importance, with the Chiefs favorite as 4.5 favorites because it comes down to the number one seed for the Chiefs and the division for the Bengals. Then Monday night, you've got Browns Steelers, and this is of course January 3rd. So next week, from a week from now, this game 91% importance, just because of how important and how much it's going to affect the division coming down. And this week, the Ravens play the Rams. The Ravens are 0.5 favorites with 51% win percentage. It's going to be a really good game. Two really tough teams. This game's in Baltimore, so that gives the Ravens an edge. We'll see who wins the game. This one's 86 importance. Then, final week of the season, we have Bengals and Browns playing each other. This game with a 99 importance. This game's in Cleveland, and Cleveland has a -2.5 favorite slightly. And then Steelers Ravens is in Baltimore, -5 for the favoring the Ravens with another 100 importance rating. So these games coming up are going to be really close. They're going to be really competitive. And so let's get down to the final question. Who's going to win this division? In my opinion, I got to go with the Ravens just because I think they're the best team. They have, I'd say, probably the best quarterback in Lamar Jackson, and they definitely have the best backup in Tyler Huntley, the way he's played. The fact that they're able to just go down their lineup and go to other players. They've had no real running back all season. We know about their injuries. We know about how the receiver core is not that good. I think they find a way to beat Cincy on the road. I think they'll lose to the Rams. That'll be a tough game for them. But then I think Pittsburgh is a very winnable game, and I think they'll take care of that. So I could see them going 2-1. Maybe you could flip the Cincy game. That's a loss, and the Rams is the win. But they know how important this game against Cincy is. It's rated 100 for a reason. So I think they'll get it done, and they'll end up winning. John Harbaugh, I think, is the best coach. I have him a little bit ahead of Tomlin just for how he's handled the season, although Tomlin's been doing a great job too. Lamar is the best quarterback, and they've still got some names on the defense. So I think they'll find a way to get it done. Mark Andrews is really good. We all know about that. And this team's just resilient. They find ways to win. And they lose games they shouldn't lose, but they end up putting themselves in a situation to win games that they shouldn't win. So the fact that they're 8-6 with the amount of injuries they have is really impressive to me, and a lot of reasons because they could be more than that.